Hello, everyone, and welcome to Knowledge of Spirit Radio, where we seek to find the hidden truth. I'm one of your hosts, celebrity psychic Jesse Bravo, and with me is one of the greatest to ever live, to have his grace on the planet, live in another country, far away, 6 hours away, in a heat wave, and it's the famous UK psychic and radio presenter, Alan Cox.
You never cease to amaze me every week, Jesse, with your introductions to me. Thank you very much. I have to say that you have got if I'm the best ever radio presenter, then you've got to be equal.
All right, I can accept that. I can accept being an equal.
Okay, that's good. Anyway, it's really good to be back here with everybody. And I know we've got a fantastic guest this week. So would you like to introduce our guest, Jesse?
Well, I always like to pay the bills first, as you know. You know, guys, we always put this out every week. We have a free magazine, Knowledge of Spirit magazine. Our next issue for August will be going out shortly. If you haven't signed up already, go to knowledgeofspirit.com and go to the subscription section. You put your name, you put your email address, and we will send you off a free copy, which last time I looked, free is always the best for me. And you can also find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook on our fan page, knowledgeofspirit.com. If you're looking for services, you can always go to mediumjessebravo.com, or you go to Calming Thoughts for Alan Cox. So I think I pretty much covered everything, right?
I think you have. I'm pretty sure you have, Jesse. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to introduce our guest.
Yeah. Our guest is a girl that I know from New York, who I was able to meet about a year and change ago, and is a healer. And the healers are not so easy to quantify, and it's always a tough subject to talk about, because when you talk about in the spiritual realms, it's not something that's always quantifiable. And Alan, I know that you know because you're a healer, and you definitely understand this. So what we wanted to do was to put a heel on to really explain what's really going on, and even the lifestyle that healers have to live in order to maintain their own spirituality to help other people. And I thought it was a wonderful way, and I know this young lady is really awesome, and she really does a great job, and she really believes in what she does. I said, we have to have her on the show so that people can figure out who she is,
Yeah.
And with that, we have our guest from New York, Julie Pham, who is a healer. If you could say hi, Julie.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for that lovely introduction.
No problem.
Okay. It's lovely to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show. And you know what, Alan? Because you're a healer, you are the expert in this area. So I have to take a back seat here.
Well, see, the thing is, Jesse, and hopefully Julie will agree with this, all healers, we all bring the energy in from the same source, but we all have our own ways of going about it, because we all bring in the energy differently, so we have our own way of working that's comfortable for us and hopefully gives the best to the person who's receiving the healing. Would you agree with that, Julie?
I most certainly agree with that.
Yeah.
It's definitely very hard to describe, as well as Jesse put it. But every person has their different method, but it's definitely from the same source.
You see, when you're healing, I mean, myself, I prefer to be with somebody. I prefer to do it with hands-on healing. But I have found over the years that I've put the energy out there, and people at a distance do say that they do feel the benefit from it. Do you find the same thing?
Oh, yeah. I first started doing healing with Reiki, and I then started to basically call it just energy healing, because I believe it's from the same source, just different modalities, but it's just energy healing.
Yeah.
I then, after doing hands, I like to keep space between my hands and the body, and I touch at times, but mostly, after doing this process, I realized remote healing, I've done remote healing as well. And remote healing is a pretty remarkable process, actually, because I've done remote healing for people that are across the world. And they feel the different sensations. I'm telling them, you know, I'm feeling this in your body. Am I correct in this? And they're feeling everything that I am trying to give.
I'm sorry, Julie. What I was going to say was, how did you realise that you got this connection? How did it all start for you?
My journey has been it unfolded in front of me, really. I always felt I had a gift, but I didn't even know that I was psychic until early in my 20s.
Yeah.
When I was just presented in the situation where I read random people, and then from that I realized my greatest gift of all is actually a healer. And, just a small line that was passed on towards me was, if your hands are always very hot, that's one of the signs of being a healer. And ever since I was little, I felt I could heal, and my hands were always very, very hot.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to ask you something that actually I haven't asked anybody for a long time. I found that when I started to open up, and because I work with my spirit guides, and I presume you do the same thing, work with your guides. When you were first opening up, did you find that you got like an ache behind one of your ears? Or almost like an uncontrollable urge to put a cotton bud in your ear because it felt like there was wax in your ear, but there wasn't. Have you had that sensation?
I actually have not. I feel different sensations. I know when my spirit guides are around when I feel a tingly in the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't gotten the ear sensation, no.
I've got to feel, quite seriously, please let me know in the next week or so, because I've got a feeling that you'll be starting to get that, because you're ready now to go up to an even higher level, and you're an extremely good healer, and I do feel it's now time for you to even step up. So, prediction on air. You'll start getting that sensation, either a tickling in your ear or an ache behind your ear. So let me know.
I definitely will. I'm glad I got a prediction on
air. So can I ask you guys a question? Because, when people are here listening to this, not everyone who listens to our show is completely versed in all areas of spirituality and psychic phenomena or paranormal or whatever you choose to call it. But with healing, there's so many different modalities. Like, there's some people that heal with crystals. There's other people that they fix your chakras, right? I saw someone else who fixed auras. When you guys practice your modality, is this something that you do individually, or is it all lumped together? I mean, how's that work?
Should I answer that first, or you, Alan?
No, please, Julie.
Well, during my process of learning, the first step for me was Reiki, and then I started crystal healing, I started sound healing, and I did, a little bit of shamanic work as well. But what I realized in terms of what modality works for me is the connection I feel strongest. And throughout all of my work, it's very intuitive. So when I start with a client, I feel first what that client needs. And if I feel strongest with, and so for me, it's always been my hands. And I'll add a few different modalities depending on what I feel is necessary or needed. But generally, I very much feel whatever I have the strongest connection to. That's how I work with.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Julie. I mean, in some very extreme case of people having different problems, I have a doctor in spirit who comes in and works through my hands, and actually people say they actually feel him moving around inside. I actually think my hands are inside them. And so I suppose that's what you call psychic surgery, which in a sense is just like another step in healing. And it's very intuitive, isn't it? You don't know what's going to happen with the person who you're healing until you're actually in the middle of actually doing that.
Exactly. I never know what to expect with any session.
So let me ask you this. When you are guiding the energy, when you're healing a person, right, whether it's hands-on, whether you're using crystals or sound or some shamanic ritual or ritual period, when that energy, is the energy traveling through you into the person, or is it just traveling straight from the source?
I believe, when I feel it, it goes through me. I always describe it that I'm the conduit.
Okay. Yes, yeah, that's spot on into Julie. It's like being a gas pipe. The gas flows through us into the other person. So that's probably the best way of describing it. The energy goes through us into the other person. It's not our energy, and it's not actually us doing it. But if you think about it, if everybody was able to tap into it, the source which is there for everybody to tap into, then there wouldn't actually be the need for healers, because everybody would be able to heal themselves, wouldn't they? Wouldn't you agree with that, Julie?
I do agree. However, I do have the belief that everybody can heal themselves, and I do believe.
I think what it is a lot of people are perhaps frightened or of the connection, or don't understand, and perhaps sometimes in some cases people feel better actually going to somebody else. It's a kind of a security comfort thing as well, isn't it?
Well, I've noticed. I've done a number of healing sessions on myself. I actually prefer to go to somebody else if I need healing. I've noticed the time frame in which the healing process takes place is longer if I'm doing it on myself. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. I feel like when you go to somebody who already has fresh energy that's not sick or ailing in some way, the energy passes through them easier into you. Whereas when I'm healing myself, it takes about twice as long. So I do prefer to go to somebody else when I'm sick.
Well, if you think about it, Julie, it's like a dentist, isn't it? You wouldn't. A dentist couldn't sit in his chair and pull his own tooth out, could he? or fill it. It's sometimes you have to go to somebody else to get the healing, to get the benefit.
Yes, I completely agree.
So let me ask you, Julie. You found out in a very early age you had hot hands. When did the Reiki hit you, and did it change your life, or was it something that was something in passing?
It completely changed my life.
Okay, so it was a complete change. Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I feel like everybody goes through the process of trying to figure out what their role is here on Earth. I believe everyone has their purpose and their role. And everything that I was trying to do at an early age, I felt wasn't sitting right in my soul. And for the first time, when I did energy healing, I felt like I have to do this. And the first time I felt, I love this. I was in love.
You were hooked.
I mean, every year for my birthday, someone asks me, what do you wish for? And I say, I wish for love. I wish to be in love in every capacity. And I finally found that in work, which is I fell in love with healing.
Mm. Now, let me ask you, for the healer's life, do you also have to walk the walk, not only talk the talk on it?
Can you clarify?
Meaning, here's life. I'm sure that you tell people, hey, listen, you got to take care of your body, you got to eat right, you got to do this, you got to do that. Do you yourself have to go through what you suggest for clients that may come in?
Oh, of course. The thing is, I realized that with healers, with teachers, with anybody that does the spiritual practice, we're all going through our journeys. And going through the healing work that I do, I believe it really expedites my healing process and forces me to look inward to heal myself in order to be able to heal others.
Mm.
Do you see part of the healing process for somebody else, Julie, as a total connection with that person? Do you find sometimes that spiritual, psychic messages come to you while you're actually in the process that's relevant to the person that you're actually healing?
Oh, all the time. That's why it's hard for me to distinguish or make a line, to draw a line between psychic work and healing work. Because when I'm doing the healing work, I'll get messages. I'll say, I feel this energy around your stomach is blocked, and I'll get a memory from them of why it's blocked there.
Mm.
So, I mean,
I'm sorry, Julie, I was going to ask you, have you had a situation where you found that the problem that the person has got could even come from a previous life, something that they've carried with them all the time?
Oh, yes. That's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Where, I'm just like, I have to go out there and tell you, it's my job to tell you what I get. And I believe in past lives. Tell me if this rings true for you or not. And I've done this many a times. I feel like this blockage and what you're dealing with is a past life occurrence where I feel like you were this person. I've done that a few times, and people who don't believe in past lives have always said, well, I did have an affinity for that time period. That's so strange.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's isn't it, you see. A lot of the times you don't understand why you're saying something to somebody, and when you see the look of recognition and almost like believe, but they're totally shocked by it, and it makes sense to them, and you know nothing at all about that they felt that connection, but there it is. That's got in itself a way of saying, well, look, this has got to be true. This has got to be the fact. This is how it is.
I mean, I love those moments. Those moments where it's just we talked about this earlier a little bit. The work that we do is completely based on experience.
Yeah.
So when that moment between you and the client, where you know nothing about that client, and I actually tell people, even when it's friends or referrals, I don't want to know anything about you, so that when you come in, it's fresh, and you know that what I'm saying is completely from source.
That's right. Do you work totally by yourself? Do you work within a group at some times, or is it just you yourself?
Currently, it's me, myself.
Yeah. I must admit, I find, because like we said before, we all have our own way of doing things, and it isn't that we're any better or worse than anybody else, but I think we need to follow our own path, don't we?
Oh, I completely agree.
Jesse?
Yes, sir.
I'm just reminding everybody you're there. No, I was gonna ask you. I mean, I know that you're a brilliant medium. Hasn't it ever been a case that you felt that you wanted to go down the healing route, or is your healing the mediumship?
I've done healing before, and it was on a very selfish basis. And I did a healing for my mother. My mother's kidney had totally failed.
Yeah.
And my mother's been in and out of hospitals for her entire life. And I said, this is enough, This will be probably the 13th major surgery she had. And so I went to bed that night, and I really concentrated my energy, and I concentrated everything I had of just trying to heal her kidney.
Yes.
And I'm like, the woman's too old to die. She's too young to die at this point. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Make a long story short, 3 days later, she goes back for tests. Her kidney's completely back to normal.
Yeah.
To the point where the doctors thought that maybe the test was something had gone wrong with the test, because there's just no way that you have a kidney that's on the verge of failure to back healthy.
Yeah.
But I guess I had done the healing wrong, because for 2 weeks my kidney was absolutely hurting me. I couldn't even walk. So I don't know if I did it correctly. I was never trained in it. I just thought this was the best way for me to do it. And I said, what, if healing hurts like this, I'm not doing this again.
That is quite a remarkable story. I think what it is, you took on part of your mum's pain.
Yep.
As you was healing. You're on about, different things happening. Going back about 3-4 years ago, I met this young lady. She was 26 at the time, and she came for a reading at a hotel that was doing this readings at. And anyway, long story short, she was really sick. She invited me, and Anne came with me as well. Went to her home, and she had healing, and she felt literally the energy go right inside her and right down to her kidneys and to her liver. Basically, she'd been told that she got about 6 months to live. She was riddled with cancer. And she had 2 healing sessions through me. Now, I'm not saying I cured this girl. I don't make claims like that at all. So, it's, but she had 2 healing sessions. And then she was very, very ill. She had influenza, and remember, she was weak through having having the cancer. And she got over the flu within a fortnight. She went to the hospital to have a checkup, and the doctors just couldn't work it out because there was no cancer left in her anywhere, just completely clear, and they can't work it out. Now, as I say, I am not saying me at all. I'm saying that somewhere along the line, some kind of miracle happened, and whether it was coincidence that she had the healing, I have no idea. But all I know is that within a space of basically 6 weeks, she went from a state where she didn't think she got very long to live, and even now she's carried on in total remission, and she's getting on with her life. So God works in incredible ways sometimes. So
Yeah, you were just a conduit of whatever it was that healed her.
That's right, exactly. And I say I make no claims whatsoever that I had a part in it, other than the fact that I was there. So how do you explain things like that? And then people who disbelieve, they say, well, okay, perhaps that was going to happen to her anyway. And how can you say it was the healing? I personally believe that it was God's energy, that because it wasn't her time to pass on. And then other people have healing, Jesse, and you could say that it helps them to pass on because it is their time, and perhaps they've got cancer and a lot of pain, and perhaps it helps them to pass over without that pain. So it doesn't mean to say that healing always makes people 100% better. If it's their time to pass over, the one thing it can do is make life better for them. Would you agree with that, Julie?
Oh, I totally agree. And I also wanted to share a story, which is really interesting. The other day, I live in Harlem, and I think that energy healing is actually starting to become more popular because I passed by a clinic and I noticed a sign about, there was a clinic for people with addictions or any kind of, a community clinic. And I noticed a sign for Reiki, and I was like, oh wow, there's a sign for Reiki here. And I quickly read through it, and it described what Reiki was as energy healing from a source. But then I scrolled down and it said, Reiki works whether you believe it or not.
Yes.
And I love
a self-fulfilling statement, isn't it?
It is.
I absolutely love it. It's a government-run clinic, so I was very surprised.
Well, medicine has caught up a little bit to the times where they actually accept as touch healing to be a subtle energy transference that helps. These clinics that you went by, it's not only Reiki. They go in there and they have acupuncture. They have all types of modalities to try to help people in any way, shape, or form. So, for me, I'm not surprised to see Reiki because, you know what? If you're sitting there and it helps you, then it helps you. It's as simple as that.
Well, that's right, isn't it? And somebody who doesn't believe and then tries to argue the point with the person who has had the experience, how can you argue with somebody who has had that experience and they know what they went through?
Exactly.
I know it's impossible to convince everybody, of course, but have you noticed over these last few years, it seems to be years ago it's almost like a taboo subject. Nowadays, people quite openly talk about it.
That they do. Now it's more acceptable. And, there's something to be said about the state of the person giving the healing also. I had read in a book, I forgot the name of the title, but essentially talks about they took a couple of Buddhist monks and they put them all into a room. And those Buddhist monks were allowed to just be, just meditate and be in their state. And what they did is they took water and they put that in with the Buddhist monks and then took another part of the same water and put it into another room. When they did their spectrum analysis of that water with the monks meditating and just being was at a completely different state than the water in the other room without them being in there.
Yeah.
And I thought that to be such a wonderful fact of the state of the healing practitioner healing the patient or client.
It is. You're on about healing. Now, I'm not actually talking about healing a person now. I was told, many years ago, that this person that we met was he'd studied crystals, and he knew all about the properties and everything about them. And where we used to live in West Bromwich, the water supply, it wasn't brilliant. It got an awful taste to it and that. And I mentioned it to him, and he said, get a piece of clear quartz crystal in like a wand shape and tape it to the inlet pipe of the water from the mains in your house. And I did that, and literally within a day, the water had got a lovely flavour to it, a sweetness to it, and that was from the energy of a clear quartz crystal.
Mm.
There was also another experiment that I think you might be familiar with, where I think it was a Japanese scientist.
Yep.
Yeah, that he did experiments with water and the crystallization of it when it turns into like snowflakes and things like that. Where
that's correct.
Yeah, he did multiple experiments where you'd be put in a room showing different emotions, happiness, sadness, anger, and the lighter the energy, of course, like love, gave the most beautiful crystallizations. For hate, which was at the lowest form, actually it was created the water to become dark.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing this and all the stories you've told me, it's funny because every time I have a meal now, I understand the power of prayer and energy. I say a prayer towards my water and give energy towards my water and food because I know how much it affects what I take in.
Well, when you go shopping, you go in a supermarket or go into a store and you buy something and take it out to your car, I always bless the food before it even gets into the car, because no disrespect to anybody at all, but there can be a lot of negativity. People have got problems and they're walking around the store and they're thinking about their problems and their worries, and you get negative energy. So by basically blessing the food before it even gets into the car is a way of helping to purify what you're going to eat later.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, the Japanese scientist that Julie was talking about is Masaru Emoto, and in his book, what they do is they take the same water and they put emotions or people's names on it, like Adolf Hitler. If you ever watched the movie What the Bleep, What the Bleep talks about this a tremendous amount in there.
Right.
And then what they do is whatever emotion it is, they freeze the crystals, and then each water, which is the same water from the same place, emits a different pattern based on the word and emotion that was put in there. So I think that's really cool.
So it's the energy from the person that goes into the water that alters the molecular structure of the water. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So what the whole thing behind it is if you can put anger and hate and make the water turn terrible and you're changing the molecular structure of the water, right. What happens to you as a human being where, 85% of our body is water?
Exactly.
So, that was the underlying theme for that, to explain how we make our own realities. Now, Julie, when you learned your Reiki, did you go to a school to learn that?
I was certified with another Reiki practitioner.
Okay, you had somebody who was already trained in Reiki that said, hey, this is how I learned and this is what you do.
Yes, who was somehow connected to the lineage of the original the Reiki founder.
Okay. All right, so now for your other modalities, have you gone to school for those? I mean, how do you gain those modalities?
Honestly, after I was introduced into the world of energy healing, I took my education upon myself. I feel like this field is very much intuitive based. It's not something that you can exactly teach. You can't teach someone how to feel. You can guide, but you can't really teach that. And everything that's intuitive based, which is also energy healing, you can't teach somebody how to feel that. You can only guide. And I've only felt with everything every decision I've made has been based on does it resonate with me? Is there alignment? Is this correct for me? So with all the other modalities, I've been self-taught.
Okay. Now, when you do self-teaching, do you mostly go out through books? How do you do it?
Books, people, I gain knowledge. I basically just pick and choose what I want to incorporate into my practice.
Okay. Well,
And do you find that you're learning all the time, Julie?
Oh, I certainly do. I mean, we all are from each other. We're mirrors to each other. I'm learning every single time. I love healing people, because when I heal people, I also do a little bit of coaching as well. I listen to their stories, and it always is a reflection back on me and what I can learn and what I can gain, you know. So I always thank my client, thank you. Thank you for the exchange.
That's very true, isn't it? Because we do learn a lot from the people who come for their help from us. But they are actually like our teachers in a way, aren't they?
Oh, I completely agree. I completely agree that we're all teachers for each other.
No. So, let's see out there. You know what? What time is it now? Let me look at the time. Let's see. All right. So we're 46 minutes into it. Let's see. Alan, do you have the phone number?
To call in. I'm sorry. I'm terrible, Jesse. He always asks me this, and every time he catches me.
All right. I have the phone number.
Oh, good for you. I'm not very technically minded, Jesse. You should know me fine now.
All right. Here's what we're going to do out here. Julie, with your permission, if somebody out there is ailing and they have a problem with their health, has any type of issues, would you be willing to take on somebody over the phone and heal them from remotely? Is that something that you can do?
It is something I could do.
Okay. Now here's a question. Is this something that you're willing to do?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Just because people can do things doesn't mean that they want to do it, you know?
And believe it or not, Jesse, I've actually got the phone number, but I have to be honest, Joe's just written me to me on Skype.
Yeah, I see you did it really quick.
So, do you want me to read it out?
Absolutely.
Okay, right. It's 504-273-7379. So that's 504-273-7379.
So
thank you, Joe.
Yeah, Joe, thank you. So guys, what we're essentially doing out there is that if you're out there, you're listening to the show, like the many and millions of people that listen to our show, and you have an ailment or you have a person who is suffering or has a disease, we want you to call in. Call in, get on the phone with Julie, and see what she can do for you guys, because I want to know. I've seen a lot of miracles happen, and it just amazes me to see it happen. And I know that a lot of these times, these healing sessions are not cheap either. So, if you're getting one for free, these phone lines should be going off like crazy. Because if I know if I was getting something for free, I'd be dialing in before the guy even finishes.
That's one of your favourite words, that is, Jesse, isn't it?
Free.
Free.
Free if it's for me. So if you guys are out there or you're in the chat room, don't be afraid to call in and see if something could happen for you. So once again, the phone number is, I got to throw it up also on my screen. I have so many screens up right now. 504-273-7379. Call in right now before we go on to break.
You have to repeat the number, Jesse, in case people don't understand my English accent.
Yeah, exactly. Let's repeat it back. 504-273-7379. Call in right now. You'll get to speak to Julie, and let's see what can happen for you. So, while we're waiting for this to happen, Julie, have you seen out there sort of the spirituality a little weird where does it really mean anything if somebody pays more for a healing or less? Is that an indication of the practitioner or just what the practitioner is looking for?
I don't believe that if the higher the price means the better the practitioner at all. But I do believe that I've noticed, because, I just want to heal everybody. I've done many sessions for free. I've noticed though, when it's money is actually an energy exchange. So I do like to accept some form of payment. You know, if it's donation based or anything like that, I do like to accept a form of payment because it's as if it's a binding contract that the person is entering, saying, "I want to get healed." Mm-hmm. And with that energy, they're putting forth that positive energy of saying, "I'm ready to receive it." Mm-hmm. So I've noticed that it's important to have some sort of energy exchange.
All right, I just want to say this because I just got a note from the radio show owner, Joe, and he says, guys who are calling in, stay on the line because 4 people just immediately dropped at the same time. So call in right now, but stay on the line because that's the only way that we can pick you up. As they say in Apex Text, we can't call you. You got to call us. I should be getting paid. We should be getting paid for that one by Apex Text. Let me put that back over here because those guys may have got dropped. The phone number, once again, it's 504-273-7379. Call up right now because everybody got dropped at once. I guess people just called in. They didn't think they were going to get on. They just got dropped. So let's just go back here to Joe as I switch between screens. Let me just put this in, send callers in. Okay. Because the time right now is 4:51, so we'll have about 6 or 7 minutes for somebody out there for a lucky caller. So call in right now. We'll take you in live.
Yeah, before we have the break.
Yeah. It's amazing how people call in. They're like, oh, I'm going to call in. And then, like, somebody doesn't answer. They're like, oh, okay.
That's right.
I guess I'm not the lucky one today. Stick around, you know. Don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle, as they say.
Everybody out there must be used to being in the queue, you know, when you call up a company. Press 1 for this, press 2 for that. Listen to the music while you're waiting.
Yeah, we don't do that. Good. Okay. So Joe's saying they want to stay on the line.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. As I always say, thank God it's Friday. We always like to tell our listeners out there, thank you for being with us. You know, you can be on doing every time. Okay. So Joe's just saying that the calls are just getting dropped, and I don't know if that's something wrong with the service right now, what's happening, but somehow lines are going up and dropping. So people are calling in. It's just something's going on with the line that's just not really...
Well, if we're lucky before the break, great. If we're not, we've got the other hour, haven't we? So...
Joe's saying every time they hear you live, they drop the lines.
And they're scared of us.
Don't get off the phone because we're talking. We'll put you right in. We will make you part of the show.
Right. Okay. Oh dear. We're quite honest. We don't bite.
No. Not on Fridays, at least.
Not on Fridays. No, never dive on Fridays.
So I want to say this out to the people who are listening out there, and they don't know that, but we're going to be taking this interview with Julie, and it will actually be going off. Oh, we got somebody going on there. Caller, can you hear us? Oh, they got dropped. Oh, boy. Oh. Okay. All right. Well, let me just repeat what I was saying. What people don't know is we're taking this interview here with Julie, and here we go. Bridget, can you hear us, Bridget?
I think it's still connecting.
Okay.
Hello, Bridget.
Yeah, I see it's sort of connecting, but not.
No answer.
Yep. And it just got popped off.
I guess it's a technical difficulty.
Yeah. So what we're going to be doing with this interview is that this interview is going to be published in the Holistic Magazine from Julie. And this is what's going to be the second part of the show, is what I really want to get into, is how we all have this understanding of what we should be doing in life, but because of trials and tribulations, we get so scared of going down that path that we get discouraged and we start doing something else. And we do that, and we trudge ourselves, and we bring ourselves into work, hating every moment of the day, and living our lives in, unhappiness. And we're going to be talking about this in the second part of our show, of how Julie really had to overcome all these obstacles in order to still be a healer. It's an amazing path.
Well, the thing is, Jesse, when you're on a spiritual path and it's something that's really important to you, it isn't an easy ride. There's almost like you're tested to see whether you're going to stay the course, I suppose. It's almost like God says, well, okay, you say that you want to be a psychic, you want to be a healer, you want to help mankind. It's almost like, well, prove it. That's one way of looking at it, because I don't know of anybody who's on a spiritual path who hasn't had their almost like moments of crisis, really. Would you agree with that, Julie?
Yeah, I recently was saying to somebody, doing the path that we love takes courage. But doing the path that we love, no matter what path it is, creates healing for the world. So whenever doing your path, I strongly always urge people to follow your desire, to follow your heart. Because if we do what we love, then we're in alignment, and there are no, negative repercussions of when we love ourselves and when we do what we love, we take care of us and therefore take care of everybody else.
That is true. And do you think that, oh boy, these things are popping up all over the place to scare me. By the way, Joe, don't throw anybody into the queue here because we're about to go off into a break in about 3 minutes. So, yeah. Julie and Alan, I'd like you guys to answer this question. If indeed people are doing what they do not enjoy, Joe, the owner, is going nuts over here about the calls. If people are doing something that they don't want to do, right, and they're trudging every day and hating every moment, do you believe that in itself they're killing themselves and giving themselves diseases and making them unhappy?
I firmly believe that. I mean, you're harnessing negative energy right there in your body, and that always, stress. Medical professions always say stress is the number one cause to so many diseases. And stress is that negative energy that you're holding in your body.
Yeah. Alan? I can't disagree with that at all.
I hope not.
No. In my life, I've had many inverted commas jobs, and I left my last employment 13 years ago to follow this path, full time, which I've been doing. It hasn't been easy, yet I've got no desire to going back and doing the 9 to 5 thing. Well, I never used to do 9 to 5 anyway. I used to work strange hours anyway, but it's like I now feel as if I've got my life together, whereas before I was just on a treadmill, and I know everybody can't do that simply. But you see, one of the biggest things that captures us all is this thing that we need money. And you get on a treadmill that you have to get up and go to work because you've got to pay the bills, which we all have to. And I'm not talking about everybody following a spiritual path, but if somebody's got a dream to be an artist or to be a singer or to be a comedian or to help the animals or to want to help children or what have you, but they are too afraid to take that step into the unknown, it's easier to carry on doing the job that they're doing even though they don't enjoy doing it.
Well, guys, listen, we're coming up on our break here. Once again, you're listening to UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans, and you're listening to Knowledge of Spirit Radio. And as you know, if it's Friday, you're here with us. We thank you for listening to us. We will be back in a couple of minutes, and once again with our guest, healer, Julie Pham. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Back to Knowledge of Spirit Radio, where we seek to find a hidden truth. And I'm one of your hosts, Celebrity Psychic Jesse Bravo, and with me is the greatest host ever to live. He is known the center of the universe.
That's right.
And all, the Alpha and the Omega. And we have UK's top psychic and radio presenter, Alan Cox.
You know, I'll start to believe this, Jesse.
You should believe it.
You keep telling me every week. Hi, folks, if you've just joined us. We're quite mad tonight.
We've had some technical difficulties so far, but let's always pay the bills. Guys, you can find us on Facebook on our fan page of Knowledge of Spirit Radio. You could just put Knowledge of Spirit in Google, and they find us somehow now. I don't know how that happened. You can find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and every other social media apparatus out there. Somehow we're there. And the reason why is because we really do a good job. We go out there, we find the best people that we can finally find in their fields and bring them here to explain what's really going on behind the scenes. And we know that you guys could be doing anything on Friday night, but if you're here on Friday night, you're here at Knowledge of Spirit Radio. Want to just say that we're on 107.7 FM New Orleans. And with us today, we have a healer by the name of Julie, not Julia, Julie Pham. I was creating alternate personalities over there. And she was with us all in the first hour explaining things. And, you know, we had put something out there and say, hey, guys, if you're listening to us right now, please call us up so that we can hear a live healing on radio. Okay? Please call us up at 504 273-7379, and do not hang up while you're in the queue. Because if you hang up while you're in the queue, we can't talk to you.
And it's happening again.
And did it just happen again? Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's just happening again.
Oh, boy. Guys, you got it. If you're calling, just stay on. Don't worry if I'm talking or not talking. We will bring you in here. We had 21 calls that dropped immediately. You're not interrupting us. Don't think, exactly.
I can't. Yeah. You're important to us, so we can always stop waffling.
Exactly. So call us up in right now if you have any type of diseases that you have, any illnesses that you want to take care of. You have a family member that needs positive healing and energy. Call us in right now. It's for free. You can't go wrong. Okay. So I just want to say this to you one more time, put this out there. The phone number is 504-273-7379, and you'll be in contact live with Julie. So, we'll talk about that later. So while we're waiting for people to populate the queue, let's talk about what we started to talk about at the end, which is about following your path.
Yeah.
And how a lot of people don't follow their path, and especially the path of the healer is not an easy one.
Well, to be honest with you, Jesse, I think anybody who really wants to follow their path, even if it's nothing to do with healing or being a psychic, being a medium, just following their heart's desire. How many people go to work every day, but they dream of living a different lifestyle, but they're afraid to do it, which is such a shame. And I suppose we've been kind of perhaps made to believe that we've got to do a 9-to-5 job. And what makes people successful is the belief in themselves and the belief that they can succeed. And you're on about the water changing energy before the break, putting the thoughts into there. Basically, we can put those change energies into ourselves, and we can believe in other people, but yet strangely enough, the hardest person to believe in is yourself, and it should be the easiest.
Exactly. Now, Julie, in your history, have you had any parts where you knew what you wanted to do and was ready to leave it, just call it quits?
Oh, a lot. I'm going to be honest, a lot of times. Yeah, it's really difficult. My upbringing is an Asian Catholic household. And, part of the Asian culture is bringing respect and honor to your family. So the unconventional path I've chosen has been very difficult for me. I've gone against the grain in so many ways. It takes a lot of courage. It does. And every single time I'm asking myself, can I be without it or can I not? And when I say I can't be without my healing work, I know that this is my path.
Yeah. And so it's been very difficult to you without having, I can only assume from what you're saying, you haven't had the backing of your family.
It's everything. I mean, and whatever you do, if you're really pursuing what you love, it takes risk. Are you willing to risk it? We're brought up, especially the way I knew I was brought up, is that you go to school, you go to college, and everything's kind of set out for you. But what I learned throughout everything is everything's possible, nothing is guaranteed. So even if you spend, I went to a really prestigious university, and my tuition was $50,000 a year.
But so they spent a great deal for you to come out in an esoteric way, right?
Yes. Well, I spent a lot. It's a lot of my name. But, I had this conversation with my friend the other day because when I realized my path, I said, I wish I spent that money on my spiritual education.
You see, that's another thing, isn't it, Julie? It's what's expected of us. And people sometimes have a way of trying to make us feel guilty.
Oh, yeah, and I think a huge thing of what keeps people afraid of pursuing what they want is expectations put onto them, or, a big one is financial stability.
And we're still having problems getting somebody to actually talk to us. There's another call just being dropped. Please persevere. At some stage, somebody must be able to get through.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to start taking messages from carrier pigeon at this point, Joe. Get the carrier pigeons ready. Send them out to all 50 states. I want only your fastest carrier pigeons.
Oh, dear. We need a world champion carrier pigeon, I think, tonight.
We need 50 of them.
Oh dear, and a couple from over here in England as well. Oh dear me. Oh, what can you say?
So let me ask you. I mean, Julie, you've looked back many times, and you've obviously have not taken that decision to stop doing what you're doing. Is the life of a healer a profitable one, or is it something that just comes in ebb and flows?
I feel like the same thing I said too. I mean, it goes along with my name, The Infinite Tree, my company. I believe there's infinite possibilities out there. It's just manifesting it and believing. It's difficult. It is. But I firmly believe that no matter what you do, whatever path, whether it's artist or musician or banker or anything like that, if it's your passion, you're going to be spending the time to be, you will invest in it and you will be good at it. If you're good at it, everything else will follow.
Mm-hmm. So at this stage now, can you tell the listeners out there the website that they can go to find you and your phone number?
Yeah, sure. So I have my own company called The Infinite Tree. So you can find me at theinfinitetree.com. You can find me at Facebook, facebook.com/theinfinitetree. My number, if you want to reach me for healing, is 347-878-8208.
Cool. That is always awesome.
Yeah, I blog on there. I also write for Women's Empowerment magazine as well.
Oh, really? So what do you do on behalf of them?
What I blog on my website, I also publish there. Because it's about spirituality, it's about harmony, it's about, basically my blog is based on, I believe every single day I'm confronted with a lesson. And it's up to me to discern what that lesson is and to learn from it. So my blog is based on my lessons of every day.
Okay. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Now, people who read it, they would also learn the lesson, I can only assume.
Yeah, I believe everybody goes through the same things. It's just different, prisms of each other or spectrums.
Wow. That's really awesome. Once again, I want you guys to go to this phone line because we're going to figure this stuff out. It's technology. There's some imps inside there, some gremlins playing around on the Internet, some bad spirits. Alan, you need to remove some bad spirits from this Internet connection.
It certainly seems that way, doesn't it, Jesse?
You do bad spirit removal. Let's go. Let's get some bad spirits out of here.
Let's all put some positive energy into it. You know what I reckon it is? Gian needs to put another 50 cents in the meter. That's what it is.
That's it. We're out of time. Oh, did something just pop here? I keep hearing stuff. It's scaring me. That's all I hear is the Skype trying to go off here. Oh boy.
Somebody else tried to get through then.
Oh God. I think I'm getting desperate. I'm gonna have to call my own mother. Mother's gonna have to come down to Ma. Just call up. Just call up the show. Come on, Ma. You owe me. Oh, it's bad when you're asking for your own mother, but
well, I'll tell you something. This is live radio. You see, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, it is recorded, so when you get to listen to it, all this will be cut out, won't it? It'll all be perfect.
Yeah, it'll all edited down.
That's right.
Oh, boy. But, so, Julie, now, when you're healing, and can I assume that you're working with guides who then tell you what is wrong, or is it something internal for you?
I've done both, actually. I'll work with my psychic gifts and I'll see, what I'm picking up. But also sometimes when I switch to guides, mediumship sometimes happens when I switch to guides. Where I'm getting messages from, their grandma or grandpa.
Yes.
So that oftentimes happens. So I generally do both, actually. I primarily use my psychic gifts, but my spirit guides are there to help me with the process, to help protect me, to help. I also, in every single session, I call upon mine and my clients' spirit guides to be there.
Okay.
So whoever wants to come, comes.
All right. Now, your guides, are they doctors? Are they tell me what your guides are.
I've had some come and go. I feel like it's wherever I am in my life. Mm-hmm. There's only been one that I feel has been really steady with me, and it's a woman. And I'm not very good at hearing names, so I don't know her name. But I know the tingly sensation that I get when she's there.
All right, and that's the sensation that you feel on top of your head, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. So, it's really interesting because we had spoken to another healer a psychic surgeon. And it seemed like he worked with a team that did the surgery. So when you're healing somebody, is it surgery, is it healing, or is it the same?
I don't believe I'm doing psychic surgery.
Okay.
I think that's another topic altogether from what it sounds like. I believe I'm, each session I do an overall analysis. Sometimes it just really, it comes to me, presents itself with what needs healing most. Sometimes it's not even the physical ailment, it's the emotional.
Julie, you are capable of doing psychic surgery quite seriously, and that's going to come to you very soon.
Okay, another prediction?
Yeah, it's a prediction. Okay. That's a prediction.
Alan, I'm going to have to start charging you for all these predictions you're giving. That's it. We're going to have to start. If people want to get stuff, they come on our show, they get predictions.
That's right.
So where do you go forward now, Julie? We're looking forward now. Where do you think?
I'm a little bit uncertain of what you're asking.
Where do you go forward with your gifts? I mean, if we look 3 years from now, where's Julie going to be?
I mean, I have such life plans out for me. I'm trying to just take it step by step. So I really want to establish a healing work, which is the infinite tree. However, I think like 10 years down the road, I want to start a community center, actually.
Okay.
I would love to have a community center full of practitioners where people feel safe to explore whatever they want to explore in all realms of spirituality, in all different modalities, acupuncture, mediums, shamanic work, just a place, if anyone wants to explore anything, it's available.
That's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, you can help out a lot of people that way.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is to have any resource available, whether it's books, people, whatever. I want to create a space for that. So that's where I want to be 10 years from now. That might be 20, but I do have my goals.
Exactly.
Well, you see, the thing is, you put it out there, Julie, and it can happen. You put that thought out, and you keep striving for it, and it will happen.
Yes, I do believe so. If I didn't have that feeling that it would be possible, I wouldn't be persevering as hard as I am.
Yeah, now let me ask you this, now lifestyle-wise, right? And I know that we never really get into this a lot, but do you notice because of your beliefs and maybe not because our lives are that normal in the normal sense, do you believe that sort of holds us back with other relationships too, like, romantic relationships and things of that nature?
Can you ask that again? Sorry.
Sure. Because of the lifestyle that we live in this area of being, people want to call spiritual, paranormal, psychic, whatever. It's not really something that's an ordinary fact. Like, you speak to a person, they're an accountant. That's acceptable. You speak to a person, there's a lawyer. Oh, that's great. You're a doctor? Oh, wonderful. I'd like to marry you in a second. But when you go out there and then you introduce yourself as a healer, do you get resistance to a lot of your relationship, like people that you meet?
It's very common, believe it or not. I mean, I feel like it's opening, but it is very common. I've been on, when I was dating, I've been on many dates where they just look at me like, oh yeah, okay. And I feel they don't believe me, but they're like, I still want, to try out this first date. And I'm just like, you have no idea.
Oh, and that leaves sometimes, and Alan, this leads sometimes to a very tough life. And that was the point that I was trying to make here, to see if you also had that experience, is that, being in this field, you got to take your lumps for it, unfortunately.
It's very true, that is, Jesse, and it's very hard to live a life like we do with somebody who not necessarily is into it, but doesn't believe or doesn't, shall we say, respect what it is that you're trying to do. You don't have to have somebody who's totally into what you're into, but there has to be a mutual respect and say, well, I support you. This is obviously meant for you. And if you haven't got that, then you haven't got a relationship, have you?
No. Not at all.
Sorry, I've noticed, it's difficult in romantic relationships, I've noticed, because it could be amazing or it could be completely the opposite. When you're psychic, you can feel, or even sometimes I know something's happened between my partner, whatever is happening. So either that can be a great thing where there's complete honesty, or it can be a thing where it creates tension because people don't feel like they can hide or keep things from each other. So I noticed that can be a tension point where even on a first date, people close down right away when they say, I'm psychic.
Julie, my advice to you is you may not want to pull the psychic healer thing out until the 4th or 5th date.
I'm always on the first date. I'm psychic.
Well, you know what?
You don't waste time then.
Lines out. Yeah, it's good because at least you have your barriers and you say, hey, this is who I am.
Exactly. Take it or leave it.
Exactly. So this way you know exactly where they stand because it's either they're in or they're not. And you don't have to waste any time. And, I know that it's not easy doing that because, a lot of people try to hide who they really are. And it's tough. It really is tough to tell a person, hey, yeah, I'm psychic. It just doesn't always go well. It just doesn't always go well.
You see, I also notice a difference over there in America. It does seem as if, in a broad term, you're catching up with us over here on the psychic thing, because over here now for quite a few years, it's like the in thing, you're psychic, oh, that's brilliant, whereas probably 15, 20 years ago, you'd literally be laughed at, whereas today, people actually want to listen to you, and they actually want to know what it is that you're about. And I do think you're starting to catch up over there with that, because I think there's been a time where people over in America have almost been hiding away from it in here. Would you agree with that?
I guess we are catching up in a sense, but
yeah.
If you really think about this, it's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, me coming from being a skeptic myself, if you were having a conversation with me and you're like, oh yeah, I'm a psychic. And I'm like, alrighty there, you know what, yeah, it's great talking to you. Yeah, right.
That's okay.
I've gotten those.
Now being on the other side, what I've noticed, and I'll put this off to both of you, have you noticed that when you tell people you're psychic, that maybe initially they may be put off? And depending on their religious background, if they're willing to go a step further and still speak with you, do you ever notice that first you get this little resistance, but then all of a sudden, later on, they're asking you for information anyway?
Yes.
I mean, has that happened for you guys?
Yes.
Not for a long time, but yes, it has happened in the past. But I think that's probably the difference between our two societies. With me opening up 1996, it had virtually kind of become acceptable then anyway. So it's probably something that happens to you over there, probably more so than over here.
Yeah, that's for sure. What about you, Julie? I mean, does that seem to happen for you too?
I mean, it does. Either they think I'm completely crazy, or there's resistance, but then they become very curious to what that means. And
that is true. Sometimes I play it different ways. Sometimes I meet people and I don't tell them anything. I just let them enjoy me for being me. But then later on, I'll tell them just wait. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I don't know if you know this about me. And then I'll tell them, and they'll be in total disbelief. And because I'm a jokester anyway, they're like, is this another joke? And then I'm like, no, it's not. And they're like, come on, stop. And I'm like, really? Look me up on the internet. Find out who I am. And then they're just blown away. They're just blown away sometimes.
I don't tell anybody. It's Anne. Only today we were somewhere, and suddenly this person turned around and says, "Oh, you're a psychic then?" And I go, "Yeah, Ed, Oh, your wife just told me." Or so that's how most people find out about me is through Anne.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah. Talk to that guy. He knows it all. But things are changing over here. I mean, one of the funny things is that once people do accept you as being psychic, all of a sudden they want to invite you to parties. You're like the party favorite, like the cha-cha. Yeah, invite him to the party. Like you're going to go work the room while you're at a party or something. So I guess it's not as taboo as it used to be. But it's different when we talk about in the romantic realm, because there's one thing for somebody accepting you for whatever as a friend, but then there's also the difference of them wanting to go forward and possibly, marry and procreate with you. Is that something that they can really do? Because, as psychics and healers and people within the spiritual realm, we do have to develop a very, very thick skin to deal with people who don't accept us or don't want to accept us. And being who we are, that's just what we have to do with. I mean, there's no way around it. But for other people who are involved with us, that's a little bit harder.
It's a strange thing, because you know quite a bit about me, Jesse, and I've got quite a close family kind of unit, with my grown-up children, my grandchildren, and I'm the only one in all of the family who has gone down this path, yet every single one of them just totally accept it as if, well, that's what he does, That's what my dad does, that's what my granddad does. He does it. It's no big deal. So it's strange, different attitudes.
That's true, and it's tough for the other side, I think. Yeah. On the romantic side, that's all.
Yeah.
It's a very small segment of the population, and so it's not so easy. As a matter of fact, I saw something quite funny, you guys. I saw somebody throwing a meetup, psychic singles.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. It was hilarious. Psychic singles. This is where we've gone, where you got to make up a special, website for psychic singles, which is quite funny to me because I would say that 70% of the psychic population are women.
It's true. It's so true.
40% are gay men, and the last 10 don't know what's going on.
It sounds like you're saying the odds are not good for us.
The odds are not good for us, yet we're provided for, and we do find relationships that are right for us. But a lot of it is expected.
But you see, Jesse, I also do believe that God kind of leads us to the right person. I mean, in my own circumstances, I was married, got divorced, then afterwards I met Anne, my previous wife. Even now, I love her for the fact she gave me my children, but she's not spiritual, she's not psychic, she's she takes a totally different path. Yet we get divorced, and I meet Anne, and we actually work together. So, you know, it can work out for us psychics. It can work out.
Yeah. Well, that's for sure. That is for sure in my life. But so, Julie, now, do you think you're going to go on like any missions, like to any other countries to learn other modalities? Because, you know, I speak to a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to India. I just got back from India." Somehow there's something in India. Everybody's got something going on. I don't know what that's about, but you know.
I feel like I'm the oddball in that little bunch because I feel like what's right for me has always been to be self-taught. I mean, when I've had readings by other people, I've said that. I've said, why haven't I found a teacher? And I've had readings from this woman that's told me because I've learned everything I needed to learn in a past life. That's why nothing is resonating for me. That is why I've never found anybody, because I'm ready to just do it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. You know, and I know this isn't a past life particular segment, but, you know, a lot of people out there, I know that you guys get a lot of deja vu, and sometimes people just know things that they don't have any life experience knowing, but yet they're so capable of being so intuitive in that area. And I think that's just an amazing thing.
Well, you find that, don't you, Jesse, yourself?
I do.
Know, and it's a strange thing when, I mean, I don't go anywhere and say, "Oh, I've got a message for you," or anything like that. I mean, I don't say anything. The way I look at it, what right have I got to go along and start saying things to somebody? You know, if somebody comes to you and says, "Look, can I have a reading or a healing session with you?" That's a totally different thing. But that doesn't mean to say that you don't pick up about somebody. But then you've got information there, and unless somebody actually asks you, I don't see that you've actually got the rights to broadcast it, have you?
Yeah, it depends on where you're trained, you know, and there's no set of standards or morals that are trained for the psychic arena.
No, that's true.
So, you know, in one camp they'll say yes, and then another camp says no. I mean, I won't mention names, but we have a show over here of somebody that does do that, just springs on people, you know? It's right for that person, but it may not be right for you. So I don't know who's right and who's wrong. I just know that what's right for you is right for you, and what's wrong for someone is wrong for them. I guess it's everybody's personal journey and choice. So what about you, Julie? I mean, when you walk by people, can you see if they have diseases or not well?
I mean, I think I've developed my blocks, because I work for one of my jobs in hospitality, and I'm bombarded by people all the time. So it's very necessary for me to be able to turn it off the best I can, because I've been in situations where I've picked up things on somebody and I've said it to them, and it makes the environment uncomfortable because they don't understand the way the gifts work. So, I mean, I try to keep, my social life or my work life separate from during readings.
Oh, absolutely. You know, especially if you're in the hospitality business, the last thing you want is your employer getting something, I guess, from someone else saying, "Oh, yeah, this person told me this and that." Because when it comes down to jobs, it's all about dollars and cents or pounds and pence.
That's true.
So, yeah, I definitely understand that, and to compartmentalize your life. Have you ever helped out somebody who didn't know that you helped them out?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about it without telling names?
It's a little bit funny because when I do healing, I feel like some people, it's a debatable topic. Some people feel like you need permission in order to start doing a healing.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I believe that. However, if it's a friend of mine, I know that permission's already granted. So if someone is telling me a story and they're telling me they're really sick, I'll send healing towards them.
Okay.
And I won't say anything. I just, sending healing. And I'll get like a message, did you just do that? Because I feel so much better.
Okay. So
other times, I used to do it where I was on the subway, and subways are very crowded, and I used to get feelings and messages for people, and I would tell them. But I stopped doing that once I realized unless I feel like it's very necessary for that person to hear, I don't feel like it's my role.
Okay. So here, Alan, I just want you to see where you would not approach a person, Julie has.
Yes.
So for everybody on their individual journey, what's right for them, I guess, is right for them. That was the point I wanted to make there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, we all do, as I said right at the beginning of the program, we all have our own ways of doing things, don't we? And, for me, it isn't something that I feel comfortable with, but I'm not saying that's wrong to do it, but it's just how I am myself.
Yeah, I'm like Julie, and I used to try, when I used to go and ride the trains, I would get messages and I would just tell them. And care less. Because I wanted to validate myself because it was coming from ego.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was really doing it so much to inflate my ego. I just thought it was so unbelievable that it was happening for me.
This wasn't about telling the train driver that he was on the wrong track, was it?
No, definitely not, because I would need to get off the train. I wouldn't have stopped long enough to tell him. I would have jumped out. Self-preservation, But everybody has their own way of seeing things. And Julie, now as you start to evolve, because I'm sure that every single day you're evolving to something different that you weren't yesterday. Do you see it physically now with your eyes when you're doing this, or it has to be a feeling?
Primarily it's feeling, but notice recently I've started to see auras, and I usually don't see them, and I've been seeing little, I've been seeing what I've been educated on in terms of, I believe, the book Healing Hands or something like that.
Okay, yep. Now, are you seeing the full aura or just the prana? The prana is the white.
Seeing the prana. The
prana is the white field around, and then the aura is at that tip of the prana, which takes a little bit more time to start seeing.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's a start. And what's really good, and Alan, I don't know if you see auras, but I definitely see them. I get to see them during the day, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do see them, and it's an indication also to, especially if you're going to heal somebody, an indication to where their problem is. You can read a lot through an aura.
Yeah. I remember, I'll tell you a story of myself for the aura. I was at this family event, and I was sitting on a couch, and I saw this lady. But when I looked at her face, it looked like she had put her lipstick on her cheeks, right?
Yeah.
So it's blots of red lipstick. And I looked at her, and I wanted to start laughing, but I didn't know she'd done it on purpose, if somebody didn't tell her, like nobody told her,
Yeah.
So I looked at her, and I heard that she was talking to somebody. And what I realized what the conversation was going was that there was a lot of envy going on. I looked at her again, and those red blotches over her face disappeared. So what I realized is for the first time, I was able to see the red in somebody's aura without being on the outskirts of the prana.
Yeah.
Okay? Of the white.
Yes.
And I said to myself, holy crap, I can't believe that just happened, because it literally looked like she took her lipstick and put it all over her face, like in some crazy era.
Yeah.
But I realized at that time, like, holy mac, I just saw that for the first time, and I thought it was just amazing.
It's incredible the links that us humans can have if we just open ourselves up to the universe, basically. Give ourselves to that energy there, and we will be brought to us the gifts that we need.
So let me ask you: have you been able to pick up things on people, especially when there's a lot of like anger and animosities in the air, Julie?
Oh, that's when I feel it the most.
So you're also an empath then, I guess.
That's my primary gift, is I feel everything. And that's the thing I can't block. So let's say if I'm in a crowded area and there's a lot of anger, it really affects me. Just like I live in Harlem and a protest is going on, and like I respect the protest, but there was a lot of anger. People were so angry about it, and I had to leave the area.
I can understand that, Julie. I mean, just not on about protests, but I've found a way of dealing with it now. But years ago, I couldn't stand the energies in like a supermarket, and used to have to go in by herself, and I'd sit in the car, or if we went in, it was like a supermarket dash. I'd be running around the supermarket. I couldn't wait to get out of the place. And it's about picking up on other people's energies, and you have to find a way to, protect yourself from that, I suppose.
I mean, I've gotten a lot better at it, but when it's anger is something that it's hard for me not to pick up when it's everything else, anxiety, sadness, all of that, I feel it, but I can block it. But if there's anger, that's something that just really penetrates.
You know, I was at an expo once, right? And I saw this lady, and she had something underneath her blouse. It looked like a pad, you know? So I asked her, I said, "What's that?" Now, mind you, let's not take the source. I don't know where the source is, but she told me that she put this pad that was like this metal on her stomach to block the emotions coming into her. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what she did. I just thought it was pretty interesting that she said that. I mean, Alan, have you ever heard of anything like that?
I haven't personally, but I tell you, not in that sense, but going back a few years ago, Anne and I went up to Yorkshire to do a clearing at this lady's house, and she said, I'd say I've got no idea, I didn't feel the energy myself, but she said that a lot of bad energy was coming in through this wall that was like a connection to the house attached to it on the other side. And she put up some kind of, the only way I can describe it, you know, like when somebody's been fished out of the cold water and they're wrapped up in that foil. Okay. She got that down on the wall to stop the negative energies coming into the house. Well,
I see that in movies. I don't know how true that is. Maybe that's where they get it from. I don't know. If I see you running around with like a metallic aluminum hat, I'm just going to have to just call it out. I'm sorry. It's just too weird for me.
Yeah.
You know,
I did find it a bit odd.
I grew up in an Asian, with the Asian background, and my parents follow feng shui. What they did with the houses is they would put up a mirror in front of it to deflect negative energies from coming into your home.
Oh yeah, I totally accept that one, Julie. Yeah, totally.
And then what's funny is that I've noticed that I've been wanting to put on more metal jewelry, and then I met this gypsy woman that told me the gypsies, the reason why they wear so much jewelry is because the metal deflects negative energies. So I believe there might be some truth to it. I don't think you have to go as far as putting on metal hats. But
well, we've got mirrors facing the front door and the back door, to keep negative energies out. So I hold my hand up to that one. I totally believe in that.
Alan.
Yeah.
Who do we have next week? Do we know who we have?
Yeah, it's Angela McGee.
Holy crap. Next week, guys, come in for angel readings with Angela McGee from the UK. How many books does she have at this point? I don't even know.
Well, no, I don't, but she's worked with the police at Scotland Yard. She's had her own TV program over in America. She's been on American radio. She's a personal friend of mine. She only lives about 5 miles away from me, and I've known her for many years, but she's extremely well known and she's extremely gifted. And it'll be a very interesting show, just like this week's show has been very interesting.
Yeah. I want to say this before we go off the air. We got about 5 minutes left. But I wanted to get a certain psychic on the show. Do you believe the audacity of this person wouldn't come on the show because we're both psychic?
Yes. Yes.
Julie, does that make any sense to you?
I can't believe it does, because I meet a lot of psychic people that I don't know, it's weird, where they have this ego about being with another psychic. I've noticed.
They had issues that we were psychic, so they didn't want to be on the show. And I mean, this person is a premier celebrity, had agreed to come on the show already, was going already on to the scheduling part, and then they found out that we had gifts, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, can't do it now. I thought that was so crazy. Alan, we got to have a segment of psychic big heads. We're just going to call them out. Big heads filled with gas.
Oh, yes. My goodness.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to call people out. I'm upset at this point.
The ego error.
Yeah, we'll easily have 2 hours to put that material in. Julie, you're invited if you want to come in and join us on that day.
Oh, that sounds great.
You may have some hexes against you, maybe some voodoo that have been put against you, but besides that, you'll have a great time on the show. That's the fallout when you go to war with psychic. Is a psychic war.
Well, we like exposing
the fake
so-called psychics, don't we?
We do, but these people are actually legitimate and they are famous.
Yes.
So we've got to be careful with the names, and I got to talk to my lawyers. But I'm going to call them out because they've gotten too big, and they forgot what it took for them to get there, and they don't know how to get back to where they do. So maybe we need to knock them off their perch.
But you see,
how human they are.
The truth is, Jesse, right, that it shouldn't be a competition, should it? We're all here. It's a big world. We're all here to help the people who come to us.
I agree.
And we should help each other.
We should, but that's not the way the world works sometimes.
No, that's true.
Yeah, so it's just amazing. So how many minutes we have here? We have 3 minutes
4,
going down
3.
here.
About 3. Yeah, about 3.
Julie,
yeah.
One more time before we start going off. 2 minutes to go up here. Please give everybody your phone number and your website so they can find you. Julie? Did we get pulled off?
She's just put, am I still connected?
She says, I can't hear. So there's something going off.
Yeah, strange.
Yeah, we've been getting a little wacky, but, once again, guys, we want you to sign up for our free magazine. It's going out in August. knowledgeofspirit.com. Julie, are you back?
I'm here. Sorry, there was an internet connection problem.
Okay. So listen, really quick, we have a minute. Can you tell everybody once again your phone number and your website so that people can contact you for healing?
Yeah, my name is Julie Pham. You can find me at theinfinitetree.com. My number is 347-878-8208. I'm welcome to just receive emails as well, so you can email me at theinfinitetree@gmail.com.
Cool. And next week we have Angela McGee, the angel specialist. And we got some big names coming up, heavy hitters coming in. We've already booked them. I can't say them yet because I don't want to get people too excited.
I just quickly want to say it's been a pleasure talking to you, Julie.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad I got to finally meet you.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah, and you stay in touch.
Yeah, stay in touch, guys. Well, listen, I thank you guys for being on the show. I thank all the listeners out there for being here and listening to us. And once again, we're broadcasting on 107.7 FM New Orleans. You are listening to Knowledge of Spirit Radio with host, celebrity psychic Jesse Bravo, and UK's top psychic and radio presenter, Alan Cox. And today's guest was healer Julie Pham. So we thank you so much for listening to us, and we'd love to see you next week.
Thank you very much.
And Julie, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah. Good night.